Right, so in this series of videos, we're going to look at the UR simulator from Universal Robots. So basically, it's an offline simulator, so an offline piece of software that you can download, use a virtual machine to get logged into, and program into Universal Robot and test out some scenarios. And it's a really, really good function, especially for beginners and for learning out. A couple of things with the UR robot when you don't have the robot there itself with you. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at a couple of videos to develop a particular application use of the UR robot, and yeah, just show you a couple of hints and tips that we're looking out for as we're going through it. Okay, so I have the UR simulator downloaded and open up. So I'm going to go ahead and start with an empty program. Okay, so it gives us our main screen here from the UR robot. Now, at start, we're just going to try and figure out and set up our positions, or basically our waypoints of where we want the robot to move around this kind of context, this scenario that we're building up. And I'll explain a little bit more about what we're trying to do as we go through the program, because it'll make sense that way rather than me trying to describe a context for you early on. So we're just focusing on basically some of the move commands, setting up some of the waypoints and how to try and visualize it while we're going with that. So the first thing I always like to do is, so basically we're jumping from the structure tab to the command tab, okay? And we'll always try and start off with setting our home position, really, okay? So I'll put in a move J, our kind of quickest waypoint to get to our home position, okay? So we can then jump into set the waypoint, and you'll see this is the orientation that my robot is in. Okay, now I kind of want to set it up a little bit more square to the way I'm looking at it. So you see, if I'm just rotating the base, I'm kind of turning the robot the full body around, okay, and I kind of want to square it up a little bit, roughly something like this here, okay? And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to jump into the joints. If you click on the joints, I'm going to square it up just here, okay? So you can see I'm nearly at -90, so I'll pop in -90 here. We're nearly as well at -90 for this one, so I'll pop that in. Oops. Pop in. Not working, yeah, so pop in, sometimes maybe just tweak it a wee bit from here. That's actually going down, sorry, pop it back up. Listen, we're not going to have an exact science really when you're using a simulator, and yeah, you're just getting the rough positions, and then you would tweak it when you're actually in position with the real hardware when you're doing it. So like that's going to be, that's probably as close as I can get it. Sometimes this one just gives a wee bit of errors when I'm typing it in. Go down here, right, go to -90 on the elbow, on the wrist, again, -90. This one's going to be +90. And then this wrist is going to be -90. So you see, I've just kind of squared up the robot. It asks me then to move it into that position, so just hold down the auto key, same way we do in real life, and then I've got roughly a starting position. Okay, sometimes if you're a little OCD with me, okay, it won't really let me move that anymore. But anyway, I've set up a square condition, all right? And if I say okay, that's basically just going to be our home point. Okay, that's what we're starting off from. And what I want to do then is I want to imagine it's going to have to move over to a picking location, okay? So I'm going to have to move the robot over to a picking location. And we can do this a couple of ways. So I'll show you one way. Again, what I want to do is I'm going to enter or add on a waypoint. I'm going to keep it as a move J location because I want it to get over there as quickly as possible, okay? Doesn't need to, how it gets there doesn't need to be too exact. We just want to get there quick, so that's why we use the move J command. So we're going to set the waypoint. And you could play an exact science around with how exactly you want to move it in each direction, but again, for the visualization here that we have, we're just going to keep it rough. So I'm going to say as well, I'm going to move my tool center point. Okay, I want that to come back. Okay, you can see it trying to pretending that we're coming back and lining it up on a piece of software. And then if I just push it out, let's say it's at some distance over here. Okay, and again, I'm not really making it too much of an exact science. You see, if I push it out there too far, the robot's going to start bending down, which I don't want. So we'll take it right back in. Again, it's hard to see from this visualization because we're kind of looking at it at an angle, but if I square it up a bit there, and again take it a bit more over, we'll say that's roughly the position that we want to get into. Okay, so we'll say okay to that. And then what I wanted to do is I want to come down, I wanted to pick up a particular part from that conveyor, right? Now, we're not going to put in the I/O just yet because obviously we'd wait for a part to be in position, and we're going to set kind of grippers or suction cups or things like that to pick it up. We're just focusing on the positions at the start. So we click on the move J command because we're going to add in another move command, except we're going to edit this so that it's move L. Okay, because we're going to come down and pick it up, and we want it to go in a nice exact linear motion to get there. Click on the waypoint, edit the waypoints, and then basically you're just going to come down and come down a good bit. Again, you could make this an exact science if you wanted to, moving your Z coordinate as far down as you kind of want to go. I'll say roughly minus 100. Click OK. Again, we'd imagine that would be picking up the part, and then it has to come back up. So I've added in another waypoint, set the waypoint. Again, if you had to remember at the start what we started with, you could just type it back into the top. But we'll say, yeah, we're roughly back into there. Probably is a little bit higher than what we were. Again, you could write down these numbers and pay particular attention to them. Okay, and then essentially what we wanted to do is we wanted to come back to that home position that we are in. And again, just another way of showing you how to do these things. We'll be adding in another move command. It will be a move J because we want to move there nice and quick. But what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to copy that. Okay, so if you go copy, what I can do is paste that in there, and I can delete that waypoint from it. Okay, so we should be back in the home. So that's just adding in a couple of waypoints. We want to maybe have a look at how this all comes together. So press play. It'll bring it into home position, like the first position of the program tree. Click OK, and then if we press play, it'll start moving through the positions. Okay, now we can't see too much of what's happening, so you want to go into the graphics screen, and then you can see a little bit better of what's happening. So you see there's that home kind of square position. It's coming across and down, and if you wanted to see it, from this side, I'll probably come across too much there, but yeah, you can see it coming down nice and linearly, and we get that joint movement, that square or not so square movement coming across, because it's just moving there as quick as possible. But the linear movement is nice and concise. So just be careful, like if you turn the orientation, you leave it like that, when you actually go back into your move waypoints and stuff, this is left in that orientation as well. So I always like to then try and come back to the view that I initially started at, roughly something like that there, because then I kind of, again, I have my initial starting point and I know where I'm going from there. Okay, so good, that looks about right. We're just starting from a point, moving over, coming down, picking it up, and we can actually see as well, sometimes I get it wrong that I leave my tool orientation as the wrong way around, but we have it the right way around, that it's coming down, picking something up, that's not flipped upside down. Just a small mistake to watch out for. So press stop, come back into our command. Again, just move us back to where we are. We can always click move here and move to that particular waypoint, okay, which just happens to be the home one, but you could do that for any waypoint and move to that position, okay. Now the thing is, these two waypoints are the same, and you can edit the names of those as well. This is kind of our home position, so you can pop in home here, submit. When we get to this is our picking location, so you could type in pick and so on and so forth, and you'll see that'll copy nicely through for you. Then the next thing what I want to do is I want it to move to another location, my place and location. So again, it's going to just be a waypoint, because I'm going to keep it as a move J. Then I'm going to set this waypoint. Okay, so this is where we are here, and I want to come around sort of closer to the front. Now, you could move your base, bring that around. It says you're having to do 2 movements of the TCP. So you could come around and just bring that straight here. You could, just try and change it off, say 2 conveyors aren't exactly in line with each other. You could maybe set it here, but sure, look, to keep it easy, we'll just bring it right around to here. Again, you could make it an exact science if you want to put in the correct details for that. So say, okay, roughly we've moved to this point. Then we're going to add in, just again, some move commands. Just notice if you have that selected and you put in move, see the way it brings it in there. It's not quite what you want. And we're going to make sure to move L. Click OK. Look at the waypoints. We're going to set this one. Bring it down. Again, you could line it up to the same depth that we did with the first one, if you remember what it was. I think it was -100. It doesn't necessarily mean that 2 conveyors have to be at the same heights, but look, we can put that down there. Click OK, and then we want to add in another waypoint. So in structure, add waypoint. You could have copied the one previous, but sure, we'll just go ahead and go through the motions and bring it back up to roughly where it was. I think it was 200. Again, it doesn't have to be too much of an exact science. So then we've got them points in. Again, you could edit them. It's going to be your place, or actually I think it only allows so many characters. Yeah, so we can say this is going to be our boxing location. And you could, of course, remove the whole waypoint 1, 2, 3 thing or whatever. There's no need for that either. Except a couple of, waypoint 1, waypoint 1 should be a different number. But anyway, you could tidy them up. And likewise, if we want to play it, it'll bring it back into the home position. Click OK. Go back into our graphics to view it. Press play, and we should see system coming down, picking, coming back across. You can see, the waypoints in green. I haven't got them as an exact lined up. This one isn't lined up that, but again, this may not be what the circumstance is. But that to me is showing a nice 2 different locations of where I'm picking, where I'm placing. We've got the different move commands there, and we've got a waypoint set up. So then in the next couple of videos, we'll tweak some of these waypoints. We'll add in, our pick and place, and then we'll decide what we're doing at each of them, whether it's just placing, maybe it's palletizing, maybe we're bringing in some extra I/O and some safety features. Okay. So hopefully that gets you started.